Our top focus on World DNA. Israel and Hamas have reached a solution over the recent dispute on hostage releases.
Hamas will hand over Arbel Yehud, soldier Agam Berger and an additional male hostage on Thursday. And Hamas will also hand over 3 more hostages on Saturday.
In return, Israeli military will now allow displaced Gazans to return to northern Strip. The Israeli military issued instructions to Gazan civilians planning to return through the Netzarim corridor. Tens of thousands of displaced people were waiting near the corridor to return as the crowd stretched hundreds of meters in 3 directions.
Israel had blocked the return of Palestinians returning to northern Gaza, demanding the immediate release of civilian hostage Arbel Yehud. Israel said she should have been freed last Saturday. Now, Israeli Prime Minister's office has also confirmed it has received a list from Hamas with all required information on the remaining hostages set to be released in the first phase of the agreement. However, Israeli media claimed that the list only includes an overall number of captives who are alive rather than a specification regarding each abductee.
Meanwhile, President Donald Trump's proposal to just clean out Gaza has been rejected by U.S. allies in the region. Trump had suggested that large numbers of Palestinians should leave Gaza and Jordan and Egypt could take in the population either temporarily or for long term.
To take people, I'd like Egypt to take people. I'm talking to General El-Sisi tomorrow, sometime I believe, and I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people. You're talking about probably 1.5 million people, and we just clean out that whole thing. It's it's over the centuries that's many conflicts that site, and I don't know. It's something has to happen, but. It's literally a demolition site right now. Almost everything's demolished.
Now, Jordan, however, firmly rejected any forced displacement of Palestinians, saying that they believe in the 2-state solution.
Our position that the 2-state solution is the way to achieve peace stands unchanged. Our rejection of the displacement of Palestinians is firm and will not change. This is not only a firm position that the kingdom cannot deviate from, but it is also a necessity in order to achieve the security, stability and peace that we all want.
Egypt also rejected the plan in a statement. Cairo's foreign ministry expressed Egypt's continued support for the steadfastness of the Palestinian people on their land. The Arab League also warned against attempts to uproot the Palestinian people from their land, saying that such an act can only be called ethnic cleansing.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas also condemned the move on Sunday. He condemned any projects to relocate the people of Gaza outside the territory. A senior Hamas official also dismissed Trump's comments and described them as very strange.
In reality, these remarks are very strange. In any case, the Palestinian people who paid with their blood in exchange for their steadfastness on their land will not leave the Gaza Strip and will remain steadfast on their land. Taking an example of the poet saying, "We will stay here until hope returns."
Displaced Palestinians have also rejected calls by U.S. President Donald Trump for Egypt and Jordan to take in the Palestinians from Gaza.
The call by the U.S. president is completely rejected, completely. If he thinks he will forcibly displace the Palestinian people, then this is impossible. The Palestinian people firmly believe that this land is theirs, this soil is their soil. No matter how much Israel tries to destroy, break, and to show people that it had won, in reality it did not win. It destroyed and ruined things and showed the people that it is a failed state.
And for more on this, we are now being joined by CEO of Gulf State Analytics and Professor of Georgetown University, Giorgio Cafiero from Washington, D.C. Welcome to World DNA, Mr. Cafiero.
Good to be with you.
First up, what do you make of Trump's latest suggestion where he wants Palestinians to be displaced to neighboring countries like Jordan and Egypt? And how do you perhaps see Trump executing such a plan with both the countries clearly rejecting the idea?
Yeah, well, first of all, this is obviously an idea that the Israeli right has been advocating for many, many years, this notion that Jordan is really where the Palestinian state should exist. As I said, for decades, far-right Israeli politicians have called for this. When it comes to the recent remarks that came from Trump, we always have to wonder whether or not Trump is just sort of speaking off the cuff, or if this is actually related to a policy that his administration plans to implement. Not always clear. What I sort of think is that probably Trump is trying to set a certain tone that worries actors in the region, including the Palestinians and the other Arab states. And this also comes in the aftermath of him saying things or doing things that, frankly, have worried the Israeli government. I think this is sort of part of Trump's strategy, and I think he's trying to create certain conditions that will make it easier for him to ultimately, at the end of the day, come across as a peacemaker. If this is going to work, I do not know. I certainly think it's very irresponsible for him to just sort of casually advocate massive ethnic cleansing. But with Trump, he's always unpredictable, and he's always going to make these kinds of remarks, and it's not always easy to know what to make of them.
Mr. Kafiro, as of now, of course, it's an idea that has been floated. It has been rejected all the same. If we were to just take a little further from there, do you feel it's a window into what perhaps Trump has in mind for Gaza? And also, if that plan was to, I'm just considering a situation where Egypt and Jordan would have agreed to this, what happens next? Is there a plan to essentially look after the Gaza Strip? And in one of the comments, Trump had also mentioned that Gaza is an excellent location. It has excellent temperature. It's right by the sea, and it has coasts as well. Is there a larger plan to get Gazans out and perhaps convert this into something else?
Well, I think it's just important to address a really important point here. For Egypt and Jordan, a plan like this is an absolute non-starter. It's important for your viewers to appreciate the historical context here, given what happened with the Nakba in 1947, 1948. That was an episode that was not only extremely painful for the Palestinians, but just sort of the Arab countries at large, especially those countries that absorbed the Palestinian refugees back in the ethnic cleansing of 1947, 1948. If there were to ever be a plan like that Egypt or Jordan would agree to, that would likely fuel a tremendous amount of political instability and social unrest in those countries. The leadership in both Egypt and Jordan do not want to deal with such a backlash within their own borders. So the idea of either the governments in Cairo or Amman agreeing to that, it would be just unimaginable. Yeah. That is something that neither of those governments could ever sign up for. This is not a realistic plan whatsoever.
We hear your point. Professor Giorgio Kafiro, thank you so much for joining us here on World DNA. Pleasure speaking with you.
Good to be with you.